This is the all-new ADAX and ADAX Pro. This is a brand new bumper that we are super excited about. We've had the best-selling bumper in the sprinter space with the Pismo, and this is the evolution of that bumper. Let me take you on a walk through all the brand new features and protection that we've added to this bumper. But before I get to that, just drink in all this beautifulness. There's so many upgrades on this bumper, I don't even know where to start. The first thing for me, though, with any product is it's got to look gorgeous on the van. And I got to say, I think our design team absolutely nailed it. It is low, it's wide, it's aggressive, but most importantly, it adds a ton of function to your Sprinter. So let's walk through what we've done with this bumper. First and foremost is this added protection as I stand here and block the shot of it. The added protection here on the side. So there's an old adage in off-roading, which is you put the tire on the obstacle. And factory, you've just got a plastic bumper here, and underneath here is your DEF tank, which unfortunately, if you damage it on trail, is going to leak DEF, and then your vehicle will go into limp mode. Everything we do at OWL has to be that perfect blend of form and function. And I think the looks of this bumper perfectly encapsulate that blend. You've got a full-size 12,000-pound winch, and that was a deal breaker. We had to be able to incorporate a big, strong winch because these things are not light. So the front of the bumper is high and tight, but it still has room for that full-size winch. And then right after the winch, the bumper tucks in here very tight. It's very high because this is where you want that approach angle. You want to put the obstacles here, and we've tried to keep everything very high so that you're not going to kind of impact your ability to off-road. The other aspect that I want you to look at in the front here, and this is where your radar sensor goes. We left this lens out so that you could see that beautiful Warn badge and our winch in there, but that's typically where there's a lens. One of the biggest problems that we've learned from aftermarket bumpers over the years is overheating. Back there is a radiator, an oil cooler, and an intercooler. They're all stacked together. And by putting a bumper with a big winch right here, it really limits airflow. And what you're going to see is not just higher engine temps, but you got to watch your oil temperature and your transmission temperature. And we've noticed with a lot of bumpers, they block too much airflow. So we left these massive windows. We dropped the winch lower in the bumper. And then even more, we took these side vents, and they're not just aesthetic. They're actually kind of a ram air, if you will. So they actually have this plate behind it that takes air from the side, and it forces it directly onto that radiator. So we've really concentrated on cooling. We know a lot of you live in the mountains or at high elevation, and we have to get that cool air in there. So we wanted to make a bumper that adds all the functionality and recovery gear that you need, but doesn't compromise anything. That means your engine's going to run cool and happy when you install this bumper. This is the part where my neuroses get the better of me. That's bull bar height. This kind of stuff I see on bumpers, and it just bothers me. The height of this bull bar is critical, and it's not critical for any good off-road reason. It's critical purely for aesthetics. You get too high, and it just makes this bar look too thin, too strange, and it also cuts the logo off, and it looks terrible. And then you get too low, and you block that front camera, and you limit the functionality of what the bar can do. So we find the sweet spot for this bar is right in between the logo and right above that front-facing camera. And then the angle of this tube actually is a reverse angle of the bottom of this grill. And so it really flows nicely with the lines of the van. So even something as small as the bull bar we put on the front of this bumper has been refined. I don't even know how many of these we have on the cutting room floor, if you will, because we changed it, built it, changed it until we got it just right. So now I want to talk about some of the other features that are kind of changeable. And by the way, how good do these RRR fog lights look? They're brand new. Check them out. Badass. We wanted to make this bumper fit the aesthetics of the customer and how they want to use it. So if you want just a functional bumper that's going to give you all the protection, great aesthetics, and everything I talked about here with airflow and recovery capability, we've got the ADAX, which essentially ends right here. These side pods are what make it the ADAX Pro. They're added protection. They give it that really cool, wide swept aesthetic that I think looks fantastic with the lines of the van. But again, ADAX is going to be the center portion with a nice finished end cap. And then the ADAX Pro is going to come all the way here on the sides. And then the keen-eyed among you may have noticed these strange hooks. Now, I don't love that they kind of came out looking like a duck, but there's a purpose behind them. One, we spent the time to radius this inner circle, and that means you can use it with a steel recovery shackle or a soft shackle. It's not going to dig into your rope. That's something you want to test. A lot of cheaper bumpers will just plasma cut or laser cut that hole, and it'll have sharp edges, which means you can't use it with soft shackles, and we all know soft shackles are vastly safer than steel. And then down here, you've got this kind of hooked area, and that's for two reasons. One, you can loop a quick rope on here if you want to attach something, you want to pull something, and you don't need it to be as secure as a soft shackle. So it's kind of a quick attachment method, but it also allows you a nice stable platform. If you were to put in like a hydraulic jack or something and you need to change a front tire, you can insert the tongue of that jack in there and lift the entire front of the vehicle off of those recovery points. And just in case you were wondering, these go straight through and attach to the frame. So they're incredibly strong, and they should be able to get you out of any hole you're stuck in on the trail. Again, it's the new ADAX and ADAX Pro. And at this point, I'm going to get the heck out of the picture so you can do some miring.